Hey guys, it's me, Waldo2413. I had a few questions people ask about different printers and all that for the sublimation. The one thing about the sublimation printer, why I use the ET15000 compared to one of the older ones by Epson, is a few things. On the older ones, you had to use a continuous ink system, which is where you have the container outside and you have the lines and you have to feed them into the ink cartridges, or you could also use a refillable ink cartridge. The thing that you'll run into with a continuous ink system, a CISS, is that if you lift it too high, for instance, let's say you don't have room on the edge of the table, you don't have it level, if you lift it above the printer, what's going to happen, you're creating more pressure in there in the line. It's just like if you took a hose when you have water in it and you raise it above a point, it changes the level. What it does is creates more pressure in them lines, and it will actually make it leak out or make it where you're getting too much ink down and it's dripping ink. And the same thing too, if you set it below the level, you're making it trying to pull a vacuum on something, and you're going to run into more issues. There's nothing wrong with the older units. It's just they stopped making them also too. So that was another reason why I didn't retrofit one, is because of that. The other thing too is on the ink choice. People ask why I went with Epson ink over all the other stuff. And here's the reason. Epson stuff has been around forever. Epson ink has been around. So what happens is if you run into an issue and something's clogged or messed up in that head and you send that printer into Epson, they can check and see what kind of ink it is. So if it's clogging the ink head by using someone else's ink, they're not going to warranty it at all. If you're at least using Epson product, you've got more merit on a return because you're using the Epson brand, Epson product stuff. Do I think anything's wrong with the other ink? No. Here's my thought though on the other ink. I'm not knocking Cosmo ink or any of the other ink companies. There's Cobra ink in Tennessee near me. Cobra ink's been around a long time. I'd rather use probably Cobra over Cosmo. The thing about Cosmo too, they're always out of stock, and yeah, they're refilling and they're getting the warehouse. All he's doing though is, a lot of people don't know, he's buying ink from China and having them bottled and packaged over there and shipped over here. Even as one video a while back where it showed him on the back of the dock loading up the package, he said he's a one-man person. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking because of that. The problem too though is he's getting the ink in. He's not a chemist. I haven't seen any of his lab checks or anything. So he could have had a bad batch of ink in. He's not doing quality check. Epson does quality check on their product. Epson does batch checks on it. All he's doing is literally, he invested the money and is having someone pretty much brand it for him and package it for him. He's only been in the industry, you can look at his stuff around, I don't know, 2 years now, maybe 3 at best. And he hasn't been sublimating printing. You can look at his videos when he started. I'm not knocking him on that, guys. I'm not saying don't buy his ink because of that. I'm just saying I'd rather buy an ink like Epson that's been around. Epson creates the printer. Epson creates the print heads. These other companies don't do none of that. I'm going to trust the company that does that, or that's been around a long time, or that has a lab. I was a mechanical engineer background. I know how lab checks are done, how quality checks are done. We produced over 1 million chainsaws a year at the company I worked for. We had to do a lot of quality and batch checking and a lot of paperwork. So I'm more comfortable on buying ink from the same thing. The other thing too, if you look at price per milliliter, because the ink is sold in milliliter, the same price of ink, I'm actually getting my Epson ink cheaper than what he's getting his ink for. I don't have to worry about trying to fit the ink heads, how he's running that. All I do is swap the cap head on the Epson for the other one. Works perfectly fine. On his stuff, you've got to swap heads, you got to use different things. The other one, you got to use a syringe. I don't want to use syringe to put my inks in. It's too much of a pain. I want to use the same filling device that the ink printers were made for. That's why I use what I use. That's why I tell people I prefer the Epson ink over it. Epson's got the color sets already found out and all that. He does too. He's got some of that where he's got the color profiles that they send him, so you can try things out. But it's just nothing knocking him, nothing knocking Cobra Inks. The other printer that I showed you guys that I had where it was no longer good, the 1400. That's what happened is I had ink in there and ended up clogging the ink head or the print head. We could no longer flush the print head or get it to work. It was not on his ink. It was before he even invented ink or even started selling ink. It was another brand of ink, and it's just what it is it's one of them things that clogged, and that was a $400 or $500 printer that was down the drain because the ink using a CISS system ran into issues with it. Like I said, I have no problems with it. I don't like, even on for my film negatives, I don't use a CISS. I use refillable cartridges. I don't like the CISS just because sitting in the tank, like I explained, like too high or too low changes the pressure on them ink cartridges. So it changes the force that's coming out. This is the difference between it, the speed and all. The other thing too, with the big bulk tanks like that, you don't have to worry about not using all the ink in the cartridge, getting printer errors and all that stuff. You only got to change the fill pad in them. So that's why I like the ET brand of printers. If you found one of the other Epsons on sale, buy it. You're probably find a good price on it. I wouldn't spend as much as I did if I didn't want the ET external tank system. But to me, it does what I needed, and it fits the kind of what I'm wanting to do. I like using bulk ink, more volume ink. That's the reason too why Sawgrass are so expensive. Sawgrass used to have the rights to any printer underneath a 13-inch. That is why Epson doesn't sell sublimation ink with their ET15000 or any of the other, is because of that. Sawgrass had a thing about that, so you have to buy Sawgrass ink. There's nothing wrong with it. I believe it was Joe from Heart and Hustle had problems with his Sawgrass, and literally he sent it in. They sent him a new printer. He'll tell you too, use the brand ink that they tell you or provide. If not, they wouldn't have warranted. They ask him for all the batch numbers and all that. They wouldn't have warranted that printer if he didn't do that. If you're going to retrofit, that's why I'm going with the Epson. Like I said, it's going to print the same thing. Sawgrass got a lot of nice features in their package too. So I don't knock people for that too. There's a lot of nice kind of builders and all that in there. A lot of kind of freebie tools and all that make it nice when you're setting things up. Sawgrass has a lot of nice features. It's really expensive for that printer though. So you have to determine whether you want to spend that to do sublimation, how much sublimation you're going to do. If I'm going to spend over $1,000 on that sublimation printer, I probably would have just went and got a F570. That's Epson's 24-inch printer. The reason I'd go with that over to Sawgrass is it's a 24-inch printer. And the ink is going to be a lot cheaper because the Epson ink is cheaper in general. Hope that helps answers your guys' question on which way to go on printers. If you have any other questions, let me know. Like I said, the other ones work good. There's nothing wrong with converting one. Not saying don't. The thing too is pretty much Epson's almost out of stock, like in their online stuff. So if you're gonna buy one, or if you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for one, you might as well just get one of the. Like I said, there's one below the ET 15,000 also. That one's not bad either. It uses the ET system. The only difference is, like I said, I went with that because I wanted the 13 by 19. Like I said, if you guys got any more questions, I had a suggestion, someone asked about making this video. So here you guys go. Hope this helps, and hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, leave them in the description below, and I'll try to answer them. If you don't mind, give the video a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I don't get kickback from any of those companies, so I'm not pushing Epson over anyone else. I'm not like some of these other people. For instance, I was not allowed on some of their Facebook pages anymore. They blocked me. I didn't promote any other product. I just told people about how to load printers and all that. how to follow through. I did the videos on it, and apparently some people didn't like, because I'm not in their little clique or group. That's like heat presses. The video we'll release next is on that Chinese heat press, and we'll go over all that stuff. But like I said, I don't get money from Heat Press Nation. I don't get money from any of these other ones. Like Garment Creation in the other video, he didn't come out and say that he was getting kickback from Heat Press Nation when he's telling people don't buy the cheap heat press. I'll be come out and honest. If I'm getting money from a company, I'll tell you. The shirt I've got, Juan did send it free. I'm not going to say he didn't, but I also won one in one of his raffles. That's the only thing I've ever really got free, was a shirt from another person. And I make fun of Juan all the time. So there you go. I'm not standing by him either way. It just shows you that I'll be honest and tell you the truth. And like I said, Juan's a good guy. I joke with him all the time. But it's one of the things is, I don't just promote a product because someone's going to pay me or give me something. I've been in this industry close to 20 years. So I'm going to give you the information that I know from my facts. And I'm not someone that just started last 2-3 years or just picked it up. I've been doing this a long time and try to be as helpful and honest as I can. Again, hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And ring the bell if you guys want to get notified any sooner. Thanks again. My name's Robert Wallo, 2413. Peace out.